Hello. Turn up my brightness a little. Too much. There we go. Howdy. How's it going? Welcome back to the Forge of Worlds stream. So last Tuesday, 2 days ago. I'm very tired. 2 days ago, we worked on the species. We started on the origins of the species and when they all came about. Got that all sorted. And today, we shall be continuing that. Just working on all the species and their origins. Over to OneNote. Why is my OneNote not coming up? Ah, because it is on Hades. Hold on a second. There we go. Done. There we go. Much better. Alright, so we got up to goblins last time. Goblins were gifted from Dune, social awareness, and as such got along well with the orcs, much to the dismay of Loth. To which Loth responded with bugbears. Loth disliked the goblins and orcs working with each other. No. Dislike them getting along. It's like, no, you're gonna ruin my you're gonna ruin my fun again, just like last time. Because that is apparently how Love sees things. So they worked on creating bugbears who were meant to hold on. No, let's change that. Don't like that. Change that all up. Loft disliked the Loft disliked Dune creating their own species. And thought it was like like they were trying to mimic them. Love felt upstaged, and so they worked on creating bugbears. Yeah, that's better. They created them among the orcs. So yeah, so Dune was like, oh yeah, I've made goblins to talk to your orcs and say, hey, can you tell your creator to talk to me? And then Loth was like, my god, I cannot believe you've done this. You're trying to upstage me by making something else as well? Well, that's not gonna happen because I've got two now. Ha! So yes, I created them among the orcs and were gifted. What were they gifted with? So, what have we got so far? The gnomes were taught play and happiness, the importance of respecting the lives of other creatures. The orcs, oh yes, they were granted the power of fire to defend themselves and keep themselves warm. Some use fire to destroy, some viewed fire as passion, creation. and drive. I've got the idea of like an orcish cook who uses their connection to fire just with cooking. I don't know why, that just popped into my head. Mermaids, they were gifted value in beauty, in the pearls and iridescent creatures and everything they saw, and liked collecting beauty. And beautiful people ended up getting collected because they were like, oh yeah, let me take you to my place. And they're like, sure, why not? And then they got pulled under and didn't realize they couldn't breathe. And then they were like, why aren't you talking anymore? And they died. Purely an accident, but it happened. Happens less now. Anyway, they created them among the orcs, and Loth taught them. What did they teach them? Blending in? Combat? No. They were created when an orc died, and Loth gave them new life. Hence, deity of rebirth. They were gifted with a drive, passion, fire. Wait a minute. Yeah, the sun. The sun covers light. They were gifted with a drive, a passion, a fire in everything they did. Everything. In art, in dance, in food, in war, in fighting, in everything. And so, Dune was like, no wait, because of this passion though, they could sometimes become so I'm basically viewing this as like they created these creatures and given them the ideas of their society at their conception instead of developing over time, because they're gods and they can do that. Just wanted to mention that. Anywho, because of this passion though, they could sometimes become outrageous. Causing issue when any conflict occurred. And as such, I don't think that's why hobgoblins were made. Maybe they were just made to be like, oh, you're making it. Actually, no. Because we've already established Dune wanted to talk to Loth, but could not. And so they're like, oh, you made another? Well, I guess I'll make another then. And then they made hobgoblins. It's purely out of miscommunication. Dune saw the new arrivals of hobgoblins and assumed that Loth was merely making more creatures for fun, and thought that should follow suit to try and contact them as quick as possible. So they reshape. So they created a new type of goblin, closer resembling the orcs and bugbears, as they thought that Loth would appreciate it more, since they obviously had a type. And so hobgoblins were created. Hobgoblins Dune taught the hobgoblins. What did they teach the hobgoblins? Dune taught the hobgoblins the ways they... No. Something to do with the moon. Something to do... History and time? Writing. Writing? The gift of writing. Yeah, because Dune was like, oh yeah, we need more people to be able to... I need people to send a message to Loth, and to do that, you can now write. The gift of writing. The ability to transfer speech to paper, stone, and wood. And they spread it among everyone else. And maybe within Hobgoblin society that's still... or societies that still have that kind of influence. Hobgoblins and other creatures from there still have the +1 to intelligence. +2 was it? It's +1 intelligence, +2 strength, I think. Anywho. Then Earth was like... hey, this seems fun. Everyone's getting on the train now. Let's do it. No, wait. Okay. Hold on. Otherwise, Loth is going to keep thinking, hey, you just keep trying to do stuff, and then Dune keeps going, oh, okay, I'll make more, just to keep up with you, because apparently that's what I think I need to do. But then that's when the first eclipse happened. So the first eclipse happened after Hobgoblins in the year 72. So the first eclipse... Nope, that's bugbears. The first eclipse... No, okay. Yeah, the first eclipse happened in the year 73. It's the year after. And this was where Dune and Loth could chat about the issues with creating species. So they stopped after realizing that's it. And so they stopped because we already know the issue is that Loth thinks that they're trying to upstage them. But then Dune's like, oh no, okay, I'll follow along. So then they figured that out. And they were like, oh yeah, okay, let's stop. And maybe there'll be a story of the first eclipse where they talk. And Loth is like, look, I still care for you. And I still appreciate our marriage. Or combined. I don't know if it's marriage specifically. Connection. But that's a betrayal that I cannot deal with, and I still care for you a lot, but I cannot keep going like this. I can't keep going like this. And then, so then they're like, alright, so we'll only meet up on our anniversary. Yeah, it is marriage. It'll be marriage. Anywho, dwarves. Earth saw all the people. Actually, no, Earth felt all the people that now danced and lived upon them, and felt that they felt overjoyed to share this with everyone. No, to share this with those upon the material. Alright, so as I'm making this, I'm starting to realize everyone's happy. Pretty much. And I think that this is like the Garden of Eden type point in time. But then the gods leave. And that's when things start going less good. I feel like that's what it's going to end up like. But anywho, to share this with those upon the material, they summoned energy. They summoned energy within themselves to raise mountains. From these mountains emerged the dwarves from the twisting caverns within, bringing with them precious metals and gems of fanciful colors and add to dictionary, American spelling, of fanciful colors and design, feasts, merriment, and music. So maybe there was like the March of the Dwarves is the story of how they came about, and it all started when they're all, with them all emerging from within these newly sprouted mountains. Ignore the leaf blower outside. But yeah, so they emerged from these newly sprouted mountains, and they all came marching in file, playing these instruments and holding these platters of food, and I reckon that's just cool. I like that. And that was Earth's gift to the dwarves, the everything they did at the start. Dragonborn. This is where the dragons come in, because the dragons always come in. Now, I feel like we should make this one weird. I want to make... So far it's just been, oh yeah, they plop down. They get placed within the world. This one, I think, should be weird. A little weirder. The dragons had seen these new people and had seen them as merely other animals and such. They did feel they could hunt them. Until apologies. Okay, so these metallic dragons, there was a powerful magical being. And I don't... Actually, maybe they shouldn't be a playable race. Maybe it was a giant. A giant in their herd of chimeras. Yeah, that works. Alright, so that was a giant. Until eventually... So the giant stuff happened before all this. Yes, until eventually... a handful of them managed to slay a dragon and feasted on it. This is where it gets weird. Over time, after feasting on the dragon, they started to notice a change. Becoming more dragon-like themselves. Till eventually they mutated and changed into an entirely new species, a la Dragonborn. So this wasn't even like the great dragons deciding you exist now. This was completely by accident. Alright. Lizard folk. Bortel made lizard folk. Which one's Bortel? Ah, agriculture, craft, and venture community and herd. 213. So Bortel, I'd probably say has existed for maybe like 100 years or so now. Bortel had existed for about 100 years already before deciding to create lizard folk. By given... not given Bortel. Alright. So, thinking. Bortel creates lizard folk. Alright, okay. Alright, here we go. They were a master craftsman and was so full of hubris that they felt they could mimic the gods in the creation of life. So like I said, this is Garden of Eden time. It doesn't matter if you're full of hubris. It's probably gonna go well. But then that time's gonna end and then the hubris stories start getting bad. People will be like, oh no, Bortel did it. And they're like, no, Bortel did it at a time when it was acceptable. At a time where it was not reasonable, where it was not unreasonable to be gifted godhood by just being great. But Bortel's time doesn't exist anymore, so exhibiting hubris now is a big no-no. Maybe there's lots of people that look back on this time like, damn, I wish I could do that, because that'd be cool. Yes. So full of hubris that they felt they could mimic the gods in the creation of life. They worked tirelessly, sculpting, carving, and binding, until eventually they created lizard folk. Hehe. These beings were... So, lizard folk are oft considered more lizard-like. Like you got lizard brain, and it's more focused on food efficiency, etc. And I think we might go with something similar, or akin to that, and go because they were made by a mortal's hands at the start. They were not. They still had basically only the lizard cortex, and then less. None of that. None of the frontal cortex. Scientifically speaking, it's not exactly accurate, but these beings were more like lizards in their existence, and focused mostly on hunting. No, on eating, sleeping, and reproduction, but with just enough of a consciousness that they... Not enough of a consciousness, enough of a spirit? With enough of a being. Not with just enough, but with enough of a being to still be considered people. If that makes sense. I feel like that's iffy at the moment. We'll figure that out later. I dislike that wording. Still be a new humanoid species. That works better. This also allowed Portal to ascend to godhood as only a deity can create life, and if they have created life, that means they must now be a deity. Voila! Portal's a god now. Humans. Made humans. Back on my notes. Tellerra. Ooh, yeah. How many years? 222. Just before the arrival of humans, people started to experience these crazy dreams of a new humanoid fleshy being. They started seeing these people as if from behind a window. One day, people saw one of the rifts, because we specified with a seer that there were fissures. Fishes into the world of dreams. One day, one of the fishers to the world of dreams spat out. No, not one of the fishes. The fishes to the world of dreams spat out a variety of humanoid creatures. Infant humanoid creatures. These became humans. So, actually, this solves a lot of my problems, actually. Because each of the species, they were made with their language, and then they all had to speak with each other, so they had to speak a common language. Humans were spat out by the dream as infants, and they had to be raised by the other species, and as such they don't have their own language, they only have common. Voila, that is why humans speak common, and why everyone speaks common. I'm a genius. And what was the other thing it fixed? It fixed another thing. Don't remember what it is, but either way. Oh, and it's also the reason why things are called... Okay, this one's a little diff... Actually, no. Yeah, so we'd probably say that in common, the word for a humanoid, or thing, is human. And so they were like, okay, well, this thing is humanoid. This thing is human. And such, they are considered humans. I keep saying human so much, makes it sound weird in my head now. Anyway, these became humans. And were all raised within different societies. There we go. Voila. Halflings. Halflings grew out of the ground. That's right. I feel like there's not really going to be much to be said about halflings. They just happened. Humans and halflings are probably the most similar in this regard, because they sort of just happened. They don't know that it was Tellerra of Ideas, Inventions, and Dreams who made humans. And halflings similarly just popped out of the ground. As a farmer was collecting their crops, they noticed that the cabbages were exceptionally large. This was notably odd. And when the farmer opened these cabbages, they found a small child. A small baby. A wee baby. They found a small baby. This happened... No, this started to happen rapidly. And before they knew it, the farmer had, let's say, 15 children of small stature. They weren't strong enough to be dwarves, because dwarves carrying all the plates and the metals and what have you, that's why they're strong. They weren't strong enough to be dwarves, and too round to be gnomes. They weren't strong enough to be dwarves. And didn't... They weren't strong enough to be dwarves. No. Here, wait. Some thought they were dwarves, for they came from the ground. But they insisted they weren't. For they came from the produce. Some thought they were gnomes, for they were directly tied to growth and nature. But they insisted they weren't, for they had no ties to... what's their name? Jill. Jill, sorry. Because of the fancy I, which is not on my keyboard and is a pain in the butt. For they had no ties to Jill. They were then compared to humans, for they were also mysteriously popped out by the universe, but were too small and had larger and tougher feet. They then decided they would be called halflings, for they were about half the size of a human and were the closest comparison, which set a terrible precedent for tall species, because they were like, alright, so they're halflings, that means everyone else is small. And as such, the precedent was set. And then Arthur Tieflings and Dream People. This is the funky one where suddenly Eden is gone. One day, while Sia was working in their laboratory, one of the one of her assistants came across a scroll. No, came across an orb. This orb was a culmination. No, it was an experiment. Experiment? A culmination of the deific power that Sia had accumulated. The assistant took the orb. Assistant took the orb and wished for the power for themselves. So this is like the original sin of stealing the orb. They knew they shouldn't have. Something like that. But as they were walking, they became overwhelmed by the power they held. See, this is the hubris part. This is the bad hubris. They became overwhelmed by the power they held and dropped the orb, releasing the energy and causing a shift among the planes. This allowed extra-dimensional beings to influence the material in subtle ways. And such ASMR, tieflings, and... Right, let's come up with a name for these dream people, because I am sick of calling them dream people. That is not how you spell ASMR. Why did I spell ASMR with ass? Anywho. What's the name origin? ASMR name origin. Derived from Asimon. Tieflings come from German, meaning deep or low. So, dreams. Let's pick a language and steal what dream means. So English to... Let's try Scottish Gaelic. What do we get when we put in dream? Bruidar? Bruidar is not bad. Italian. Sonia. Dutch. Drum. The drum. Finnish. Unelma. Unelma's good. Turkish. Rüya?
Rüya.
Rüya. Bulgarian. Mechta? Icelandic. Drauma. The Drauma? That's cool. But that does sound very similar to Drow. Russian.
Мечтать.
Michtat. Samoan? Miti. Hungarian?
Álom.
Alom? Portuguese.
Sonho.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Swedish. Drom. Turkish? That was Rüya. Nyanja, I don't know what that language is. Georgian. Otsenba? Traum. Dream. German. Traum. The trauma. That could work. No, or the Fraume. Because we've already got T for tiefling. A-T-F. Kraume. Graume. No, that sounds grimy. Trauma. I don't know. Could just be Raume. Yeah, that works. Raume. Let's put that in here. Yeah, that's cool. Realm. Alrighty. The deities decided that having deific power this close to mortals was dangerous, and so retreated upwards, creating the upper planes. Yeah. No. So retreated to their own newly formed plane of existence. Because I don't know if it's going to be an upper planes, lower planes, etc. We'll see. Could be adjacent. Elves. Elves are funky. During the birth of elves, the world was settled among itself. It kept but there was primordial forces earthquakes, tornadoes, tsunamis, and other powerful natural phenomena that that's how you spell phenomena. What? No. That's how you spell it. Yeah, phenomena. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, phenomena. Yeah. Back to dictionary. That reared their heads from time to time. One day, they all collided in a fantastical display of elemental force. At the center of this force, a gateway opened. A gateway? No. At the center of this force, something happened which scholars debate to this day. But nevertheless, when the dust cleared, standing in the standing within the tumult was a group of people with long pointed ears and solidly colored eyes. These are Eladrin. And then the children of these beings so yes, as they evolved, became more accustomed to the world among others, they probably started developing other features Well, no, they started developing features closer to that of the other beings. And so the solidly colored eyes became less common. But there are Eldrin still who do have these solidly colored eyes, and it's also why they change appearance and personality according to the seasons. Natural phenomena. Anywho. These were the Eldrin, the predecessors. How do you spell predecessors? Nailed it. To the elves. Voila, elves. And that, my friends, is all the species of Tellerra. Oh wait, the predecessors of the elves. Slowly, over time, the elves lost their solid eyes and inherent connection to nature, although there are some that still do, but they are hidden and mysterious. Voila! Species. Playable species. Now done. Let's remove that because we don't need it. Alright. So I think that was very dense. I think we'll end it there for now. For today. Thanks for coming along. Thanks for watching. Yeah. That's the species done. If anyone has any ideas about what they want to see next, feel free to let me know. We could work on... What could we work on? Got them in my notes. Could do some more religion. Could work on the cosmology and planes. Or we could do some themes. So yeah, feel free to let me know. Probably on Twitter is the easiest way to get to me, at Forge of Worlds. This episode will be uploaded on YouTube sometime in the future. If you have not seen the other episodes, feel free to watch them on YouTube as well. I believe that should be it for now. So, hope you enjoyed. Catch you later.